I bit my child in anger. Warning, some audiences may find this content disturbing. View at your own discretion. Welcome to the House of Reddit. Today, we share some recent r/confessions posted on Reddit. I bit my child in anger. I can't believe I'm writing this on Reddit, but there is absolutely no one I can tell about this, so here goes. My toddler has always hated going to sleep in the evenings. He fights sleep with all his might and would love to stay up until midnight if he had his way. I'm a single parent and lately I've been feeling constantly on the verge of breakdown, due to stress. But recently I've at least succeeded in making him fall asleep before 9 p.m., which is a huge improvement. But tonight I tried for over an hour to make him lay down and go to sleep, nothing worked and we both got more and more agitated. Suddenly he launches himself on me and starts pinching and scratching my face and it's bloody painful. I should have cut his nails today but just couldn't find the energy for fighting about it, so left it for tomorrow. For some stupid reason my immediate reaction to this was to grab his hand and bite it. Not very hard because I thankfully came to my senses quickly, but what the actual fuck? Who in their right mind bites a child? I feel like I've reached the lowest point ever in my life as a parent. Thank you everyone for your supportive comments. I wrote my post pretty soon after it happened and I felt like the worst parent ever. But I had a pretty good day with my boy today and even decided to join him for his midday nap, while ignoring the mess my whole house is in ATM. So I don't feel quite as terrible, and exhausted, now, but I'll definitely make sure to remove myself from the situation next time. I wish I could reply to you all individually, but I don't have the time. I found heroin in a liquor store parking lot and snorted it. Friday, just got off work, stopping at the local liquor store for some White Claws. Pull in and hop out of the truck and between my feet is, what looks to me as, 2 small Coke bags. I pick them up, throw them in the truck and go in and get my claws. For some backstory about my drug use. I smoke weed when my wife isn't around, I drink every weekend and that's really about it. Nothing prepared me for this. I took a small bump of this mysterious white powder off a razor blade I found in the truck and I thought it was Coke. I felt good. Drove home and say hi to the wife, give her a kiss, take a piss, and talk about where we are going for dinner. We decided on a local pizza/bar spot and she runs off to get ready. I decided to do a little more. I mean, I'm feeling good, wife doesn't notice, I'm in the clear. I snort about double the first dose. Mistake. Within 10 minutes I am asleep on the couch. I use asleep with quotations because I was aware but couldn't move. I felt weak and sick. Luckily my wife is awesome and sat down on the couch and waited for me to feel better before we left for dinner. I assumed what I had found was Coke. I have been around it but can honestly say I've never done it. Normal me, I throw this away, but this isn't a normal story. This is a confession. So what? I did it. I snorted a bag of white powder I found in a liquor store parking lot. I stole money from a retail store as a manager and got someone else fired. I was an assistant manager at small-town retail store for about a year. During that year, I was in a bad place with drinking and the pay sucked horribly. About 6 months into it, I started to figure out how to steal money from the store without getting caught. However, it would end up short on the bank deposit. I would never take much, 5 here, 10 there. But it added up to a few $100s by the end. I needed someone to take the fall for me, so I would only take from the drawer that one person was working at the register, and if only they were the only one on the register for that day. Eventually we got someone from corporate to come and watch the tapes. I wasn't worried because I took the money in the only place where there wasn't any cameras. Corporate thought they figured out how the person was doing it. So one day, they brought them up to the office and fired them for stealing, even though they adamantly stated that they never stole. Shortly after they left, I quit because I didn't want to get fingered for it. They never figured it out, and I saw the person about a month later and they still held firm that they never stole anything. I played dumb, and said that I was sorry they lost their job. I still feel bad about it, but I haven't seen the person in years to even confess what I did back then. I stole the remainder of my mom's opioid pills and deeply regretted it afterwards. I had my wisdom teeth pulled the spring of my junior year in high school. This was right before the heavy regulation on opioids due to the American opioid crisis, so my orthodontist prescribed me hydrocodone to help bear with the pain post-surgery. I had an incredibly low tolerance as I had never consumed drugs before, and it was then that I discovered my hyper-addictive personality. I definitely don't condone it now, but then it felt amazing. I struggled with social anxiety, but all of that seemed gone when I was on the medication. For the first time, I loved going to school and didn't want to leave. It was a terribly unhealthy addiction that was forming. I started to near the end of my prescription and began to worry about how I would feel afterwards. I was genuinely still in some pain, but I also didn't want the fun to stop. I had remembered that my mom had her gallbladder removed and was given an opioid prescription she kept in her dresser. While she was at work, I searched her dresser and found the pills. When you're heavily medicated like that, you're not in your right mind. I eventually used the rest of them and had to face an ugly and horrible withdrawal. I had learned several things throughout that experience. 1. Never take medicine that isn't prescribed to you. 2. If you have an addictive personality, be very careful and talk with your doctor before starting any heavy medication. 3. The opioid crisis is a crisis for a reason. I read an article about how 60% of opioid addicts are those that had started off as a genuine prescription. They are not to be messed around with. Stay safe out there. Gave conning officer bogus information. Back in the 80s I was a Navy signalman and also a master helmsman, which meant I could take the helm anytime I wanted and call it practice. It was officially the BMS job. Anyways, whenever a certain quartermaster and conning officer were on watch together, I'd take the helm for a 4 hours watch with the quartermaster. The con officer Ensign Christian was a real pain in the ass, so we constantly messed with him. He'd always ask the QM to convert knots to mile per hour for him cause our system only did knots, and he was constantly bugging the helm about course and speed. Checking up. Well, the QM constantly gave him bogus speed information and it'd give him accurate course and speed info, even though a lot of times I was as much as 45 degrees off course. One night the sky was totally black. Absolutely no reference points and we felt froggy, so we went for a full 360. This is over 4 hours and about 75 miles now, so it's not hard. Anyways, halfway through the circle both got relieved and were told to go to Signal Bridge where the skipper was waiting for us. All we could see was the glow from his cigar and his very deep laugh. He had noticed what we had been doing to poor Ensign Christian from day one. He just wanted to see how far it would go. The whole 3 months he'd been listening up when we were on watch together. He first thought we were stupid, then he listened for a while before intervening and realized he knew exactly what we were doing. We laughed with the skipper for about 20 minutes, then went back to helm, got my ass chewed by Ensign Christian for being 180 degrees off course, and we never did it again. Ending Christian never found out. I, 23 female, always mess up my friendships with men. I've never felt like I have much to offer someone besides my body. I'm pretty boring and socially awkward, but I work out a lot and usually make up for the lack of personality by having the thick/curvy body type that I'm grateful is trendy right now. I don't do this on purpose, but I've always had more guy friends than girl friends. I participate in a male-dominated sport, so I'm better at the dude dynamic. But I've done this same stupid thing many times and it always makes things weird and the friendship eventually falls apart. I hook up with my friends, even if I'm not really attracted to them like that. Though like 4/5 times they are the first to initiate anything, I pretty much always go with it without giving it any thought. As far as I know this hasn't happened, but I always feel shitty, like I might lead them on and make them think I want something more than the FWB type of situation when I don't. The most recent one has felt the worst. We'd both pretty clearly been attracted to each other before but never did anything until a few weeks back. I don't know why, but before any clothes even came off I got really nervous, so we stopped and I left right after that. Layers of awkward there. He hasn't talked to me since then outside of a couple texts, and I'd hate myself because I let this happen so much. I guess people would label me as easy, and that isn't wrong. The motivation isn't complicated. I was always really shy and didn't do much socially before college, so now I just feel that any attention is good attention in the moment. I do have a therapist and I've talked about it there before. Don't have much self-esteem or confidence, so if somebody feels any type of way about me I feel more worth something. It's not relevant, but I am bi/pan, I'm just awkward and don't tend to be as bold with women. He left me for an anime girl and laughed in my face repeatedly. Hey, so I'm 13 and he has for a year now, just completely not cared. When we first started dating it was the best thing ever. We sent sweet texts and shit like that. But then he started getting obsessed with anime. And I mean, at first it was annoying, but I didn't let it bother me. Then I found out he liked an anime girl. This bothers me for two reasons. The anime girl he puts before any anime girl has the personality of my best friend and not mine. This wouldn't be a big deal other than the fact that he always says he loves my personality, and the other one is that I can never compare to her. And I'm not gonna name her because I don't want a bunch of anime pervs in the comments. Eventually he would not stop talking about her. This went on for months, and I mean it was every single fucking week that he and I would argue and fight. And every time I am the one apologizing. It fucking hate it because I eventually told him how I feel about everything and he just said, "You're right, I do have high expectations." Like the fuck? Bitch, here I am being vulnerable and all you gotta say is that you have high expectations? And like, we have even talked about having a future together. But I can't stand being like 17th to anime girls and hentai. He rubs in my face that I'm not good enough. Like today he tagged me in a TikTok of this girl wearing a small bathing suit top. You could see her boobs and everything. And all he said was she's pretty fine. I called him a pervert and he got all defensive. I have even confessed my love for him because I love him. He always says it back but I don't believe it. And he is always say shit like, "I'm gonna die alone," like yeah you are if you keep loving anime girls more than real girls that you can actually fuck. And I get that we are too young for sex, but am I wrong? It seems like I'm the only one that tries. I'm so done with him but I always go back. If you enjoy this video, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future videos, please let us know in the comments below. Turn on the notifications to know when we post new videos. Thank you for coming to the House of Reddit.